What if I'm honest and everybody finds out that I'm a fraud? I think these three words, or these few words, explains everything that goes on in my profession, and perhaps it is like your profession as well. And there is this deep feelings of insecurity that we all feel, that if we're honest and we tell the truth, then somehow we are going to be outed for frauds. And in academia, in research, this is deeply profound. I didn't realize how deeply profound that this actually was, and drives much of the behavior that we go through. And it's often, and it seems it is the most counterintuitive thing, because we are taught as researchers to just study the data. And at least I would hope, after many years of being trained in science and in education through, going from middle school to all the way up until high school, all the way through graduate school, that if you're honest, that's what a good scientist actually is. I want you to stick with this, and I want you to follow along with what I'm going to say, because it's deeply curious to me with what is going on. I started this whole Reciprocity Project almost 10 years ago, and I thought if I just simply talk about my experiences, first of all, I thought if I just provided great information, people would recognize it. But I soon realized that that wasn't the game. That after, actually, it wasn't soon, it took me a long time. It took me years, the first couple of years, that providing good information wasn't doing anything. People are still afraid of actually talking to me about the Reciprocity Project. They're okay to talk about it in private, but they're often very afraid about what I am going to say and do, and whether I'm actually going to out them. And I find it fascinating that, so there's that take on it, but there's another take that people think that what I'm doing is actually a waste of time because it's not part of the profession. I shouldn't actually document what it means to build. This is how profoundly I think it is unusual, interesting. I am a professor of innovation. I am trying to document what it means to actually build an innovation, a platform within academia. And yet, documenting it and talking about it openly is somehow considered taboo, and I'm doing the wrong thing. I find it spectacularly interesting that, and curious, that we have such a difficult time with this, openly talking about things and openly talking about and studying the patterns of how we interact. Because if it's okay to study, and this is where it's fascinating, it's okay for us to study human beings or the natural world, but it's not okay to study ourselves. And I think that there is a deep disconnect often, and this physicians run into this problem all the time. There's a deep disconnect between looking and thinking about ourselves and questioning ourselves of who we actually are, and applying it to some unknown entity. And I think this is somewhat some of the frustrations that many of us feel, not just in the academic scientific community, but I think in the general public. I think if we are to make changes on how things are done, we have to first address many of these things that we go through and that we deal with. I openly talk about many times. This is the thing that's like, wow, I didn't realize the fact that I have to do lonely work, the fact that it's not exciting most of the time is somehow considered taboo to talk about. I should be emphasizing that it's exciting, that I'm always working with people, that it is an extremely collaborative affair, and that we all collaborate and get along. When I say that that is not my experience, people either say that, well, that's just you. And when I see it, I actually talk to people in private. That's their experience is the exact same thing as mine. I sit in an office, it's quiet, and if I don't do that, then I don't get tenure, I don't get my job, I don't get promotions, all of those things. So I'm stuck by myself in an office. And if I don't do that, I'm considered somehow flawed. Right? If I struggle with that, I'm considered somehow flawed. Um, I find it absolutely fascinating to address these things and just being open about them, that that is somehow taboo and that I'm somehow risking my career. I think, at least for me, it's just honesty. And I'm not talking about anything that is like, oh my God, we're gonna, we're not building the nuclear bomb here. But it's somehow because it's so touching and so close to home that we're afraid to do it because we're afraid of addressing these things might actually change how things are done. And it wasn't until I actually started addressing these things and talking about them openly that there was a connection with people on a large scale. I'm not here to scare anybody, to make people, tear down their careers or anything like that. I'm just here to be honest and open and tell our experiences of what it means to be a researcher and why I actually started building the Reciprocity platform. My life was deeply lonely at the end of the day. I spent all of my time in my office, not really seeing anybody, and I wanted to turn it into a game. I wanted to make it playful. I wanted to build a platform so I can go there and at least if I'm not going to talk to a human being, I would love to talk to a robot that's going to make me laugh and have pleasure. I think we somehow don't see these things. And while I continue to struggle with this by just simply addressing it and being open, and if you talk to me, I'm pretty open, friendly person. I'm not somebody that's going to be Debbie Downer, but it's the profession. If you look at what we actually do and why people struggle with it, it's all the same reasons. People go through spirals of depression and then they leave. They secretly give up and then they just kind of squeak away and you never hear from them again. I want to change that. I think that that is a waste of resources. But just simply saying that out loud somehow makes me a pariah. I find it fascinating as a pattern of social interaction, how this actually plays out. I'm here just to be friendly me. I'm here, and I want you to think about this is what are you scared of and why is it driving you to do those things? Can't you just be friendly you and be open and honest? Is it really going to change your career that much? Perhaps it will. At least for me, I think it probably has. For better or for worse? Probably for worse. But oh well, I just want people to know, no matter who they are and where they are, they're normal. You're doing just fine. And I will be there always to tell you that your experiences are valid, that the stories that are often told are not the stories of real doing what real work is. and you get up and you do it again, and you love it, and you try to figure out how to love it. Not necessarily that you love it, it's painful, but you figure out how to love it. Climbing a mountain, doing a marathon, building a house by yourself, these are not things that are easy. And of course, you're going to feel misery, but you figure out how to convert it into your thing so that you can do it again and figure out how you can keep up and keep trying regardless. So of course I'm going to try to gamify it. Of course I'm going to try to do all of the fun little tricks that we know that kind of sort of work, but kind of not really. And ultimately, I'm always going to be here with a friendly voice to tell you you're doing okay. Just keep going. Take care and have a wonderful day.